Well, moving on, let's connect with the management of GSFC as well to have a more understanding on what impacted the numbers in this quarter and what's the way forward. We are being joined by Mr. S.K. Bajpai, who is the Senior VP, Finance and Legal and CFO of the company. A very good afternoon, Mr. Bajpai, and thank you so much for your time. First up, Mr. Bajpai, when we look at your numbers, it's been a weak set because from those double-digit margin, what the company recorded in Q3, you're now down back to those single-digit numbers. Help us understand that what's been ailing and what's been impacting your numbers this time, and going ahead, are we in to see some improvement from these levels?
No, actually, Q3 is the lean season for the fertilizer industry as a whole, and Q4 also will be the lean season. One more factor is that in the Q2 we received around 100 crore rupees dividend. So that receipt is reflected in the other income, and that boosted the profits ultimately. But having said that, we have the strong revenue growth, improved efficiency, higher production, along with product mix optimization in Q3. And top line growth is 40% YOY in Q3. PBT increased by 16% and PAT increased by 13% YOY in Q3. So it is not a very bad quarter as far as the fertilizer industry is concerned. However, having said that, the rupee depreciation has also impacting the raw material cost what we are importing phosphoric acid. That has also risen from $948 to $1,060 in quarter three. So that has impacted the cost for the purpose of NPK and DAP fertilizers. In case of DAP, it is not viable for us to produce because of this higher raw material cost. So we have imported 1,25,000 metric ton of DAP and satisfied the Indian farmers for the DAP requirement. Government is also pushing us to supply DAP, and whatever the loss we have incurred during the DAP import, it is to be compensated by the government. So that sort of action we have taken to import the DAP and satisfied the DAP requirement.
Okay, Mr. Bajpai, this is Snehi also joining in the conversation. You did mention that quarter three has been subdued for the entire fertilizer industry. Give us a sense of what the outlook is going ahead when it comes to the fertilizer segment, because we did have the budget that was recently announced, and although no major announcements coming in directly for fertilizers, a lot of boosts were given, a lot of measures were undertaken for agricultural development. Do you see this in turn turning to be a green shoot for the fertilizer industry? Can we expect some improvement across the board going ahead?
No, as far as the subsidy is concerned, the government has announced 1,55,000 lakh crores as a subsidy budget, and it is more or less same or slightly lower than the last year provisions. But subsidy will remain same. It is only the factor which can impact is the raw material prices. As such, we have seen the ammonia prices as coming down in the quarter four. But the P2O5, like that phosphoric acid, which is main content for producing DAP and NPK grade of fertilizers, it is not reduced. Only $5 reduction in the P2O5 in the quarter three is seen. And if it continues in the quarter four, it will be difficult to produce the DAP by the Indian manufacturers. So we have to be dependent on the imports of DAP up to the time the government compensates us.
All right, but Mr. Bajpai, also help us understand that how is the raw material pricing and the demand trends are looking like going ahead?
Demand of the fertilizer is booming as such. There is a good monsoon we have seen. So there is no problem as far as the demand is concerned. But what we are doing that in place of DAP, we are focusing much on the NPK grades and especially APS by the GSFC, because ammonium phosphate sulfate is the substitute of the DAP. So we are pushing the APS in the market, which has a slight margin. Otherwise, DAP is a not very cost-effective proposition for the company to produce.
Okay, and also if you could throw some light on your capex plans for FY26, and if you could give us a status check on what your current projects are doing.
We are expanding the projects like currently Urea 2 is revamping project where we are making the expenditure of 450 odd crores, and sulfuric acid 5 project that is also to be commissioned within next 6 months. Other than that, there are two solar power project. One is the 15 megawatt project at Charakna, And then other is the 75 megawatt solar project by our subsidiary company GIPCL. So we will be getting 37.5 megawatt power from that. So it will be a cheaper source of power available. And urea 2 revamping project will provide us the efficiency in operation because the energy norms will be met as per the government requirement. So these all capitalization of the project will improve the efficiency of the company and our profit will be maintained.
And lastly, Mr. Bajpai, if you can give us some sense what's happening within the industrial product business, and given so many announcements related to the tariffs and the sanctions over there, any impact on the fertilizer industry as a whole you foresee?
Yeah, industrial product segment is not very encouraging, and the whole chemical industry is in a very depressive mode. Our caprobenzene spread, which was running in $674 per metric ton in the quarter three last year, has been reduced to $588 in the current quarter. So the margins are reducing in the IP segment because of the main reason is the cheap import of the caprolactam by the from the Chinese suppliers. So it will impact the melamine and as well as caprolactam. The company will be having this challenge to face in the next quarter also.
Okay, thanks for that outlook, Mr. Bajpai. And on that note, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for joining us and speaking to us at ET Now about your quarter three earnings as well as your outlook going ahead. But